Hello again, Seamus. I didn't expect to be back with you so quickly, but as people have seen on Facebook over the past few days, you've had quite a whirlwind week, haven't you? You've stepped in and saved the show at the Probellum card last week on a massive card against Joe Laws, and I just thought I'd bring you on really to gauge your thoughts on what the week was like, the build-up to the fight and things like that. Over to you, really, Seamus.
Yeah, thank you, mate. It's a pleasure to be with you again, mate. I know it's been put on the back burner for the last 3 or 4 days. The missus wasn't well. I was running around like a headless chicken. So yeah, it's a pleasure, mate. It's an absolute pleasure. As I say, hopefully there'll be a part 3, and I've got many guests that want to come on in the future, mate, and work with you. Mate. So yeah, absolutely. But yeah, mate, going back to your first point, the fight at Probellum, I basically wound down for Christmas. So I was finished. I was on my break. I had 16 fights in 19 weeks. I think it was 18 and 19 weeks. And I was finished for Christmas. So I'd not been in the gym all week. I'd not trained for like 8 or 9 days. I'd put a bit of weight on. I was 12 stone 4, 12.5. I was in bed till dinner time because I'd completely shut off. I mean, I've been training hard all year, so I was completely just shut off, mate. I was like, right, I'm enjoying myself. It's time to rest now. So I was having my midday naps. I was asleep, and my phone was on silent, but my phone was going off. I've seen this when I've woke up, all the missed calls off several people, including my boss, my manager, and my coach, Curtis Gagano, who was trying to get hold of me. So I'm like, I knew what it was straight away. You know, when I seen Curtis to be trying to ring me and he's texting me, I thought, I know what this is. So sorry about that. So yeah, I've answered the call. I've gone up, I've quickly made a coffee, I've answered the call, and he said, right, listen, there's a big fight, Probellum, maybe on Box Nation. It's a big fight, it's a decent purse. Do you want it? It's like, you know me, mate. We'll take the fight. So I've took the fight. I didn't even realise. So I've messaged him minutes after coming off the phone. And I've said, Curtis, who's it against? And he sent me the picture of Joe Laws. Now, I know who Joe Laws is. I've seen massive shout out to Joe Laws, by the way. Him and his father and his team were brilliant. Say what you like about that kid. I met the man personally, up close and personal. And that man and his team and his father were brilliant people. And I got a personal invite down to their gym. They have a gym in the yard, they train down there. He's got an amateur pedigree. He's a big name. I've watched him fight on BT Sports, I think it was. I'm not too sure. I watched him fight anyway on pay-per-view. I think it was against Ryland Charlton.
Yeah, on Matchroom Fight Camp, I think.
That's the one. It was on. Yes, it was. That's correct, mate. And he was fighting on that. And I'd followed his career. I'd seen bits of him. So I knew it was a big, big ask. But I also knew that I'd be bigger than him. So it was an educated risk. But I knew I was not fit. I was not going to be fit for this fight, but I took it and I went 6 rounds with him, mate. So tap on the back. Couldn't turn down that opportunity, could I, mate?
To be honest, if you don't mind me saying, I bet you was quite shocked yourself that you went 6 rounds unprepared against a massive ticket seller in Newcastle. You know what I mean? And you talked there about an educated sort of risk, because I believe the fact that you saved the show as well will lead to more opportunities with MTK Global. Leeton's a massive promoter, and is that one of the reasons why you also took the fight as well at short notice, because of potential future opportunities down the line?
If I'm being honest, mate, no, it wasn't. That wasn't on my mind, mate. I'll never tell a lie. It was just I struggled to turn fights down, mate. It was the same when I was in the unlicensed game. I've always been one of those that I believe is a true fighting man. Bartley Gorman said it. If you're afraid of anybody, it's no good. You shouldn't be in this game. You know what I mean? And you can't, especially an opportunity that big. I was never going to turn it down, but I didn't take it with that in mind. But obviously, it's going to transpire later on down the line, hopefully, from the feedback I've got and from the buzz, there will be more opportunities like that down the line. I mean, I was on a podcast the other day, featured on a podcast. Somebody made me aware of it, that I was on a podcast. I think one of the commentators on the night does a podcast with another gentleman, and I got a really nice 3-4 minute segment there where the guy said I was obviously like one of his favourite fighters of the week, and I'm probably got to be the most active journeyman in the UK and Europe at the minute. I'm right up there anyway. I think it's I've checked and I can't see anybody else that has had 17 fights in 20 weeks. So yeah, mate, I'm on the crest of a wave, mate. I'm absolutely loving it. Next year there's going to be some massive opportunities. But that for me, to take it on short notice and go 6 rounds was definitely, it was a task, mate. It was a task. And I tried to make it competitive. I wasn't just going to go in there and tuck up the 6 rounds. People don't want to see that. So I tried to make it as competitive as I possibly could, but the energy levels and fitness levels required weren't quite there.
Yeah, I suppose it's a massive learning curve there, though, isn't it? You made some comments off camera about changing your style going forward. Can you talk to the viewers a bit about that and your plans for 2022? You've been a pro 6 months now, and next year you'll have a full run at it, so you might get a lot more fights in there. Can you talk to us about the plans for how many fights you've got, or you would like to get next year, should I say?
I'm glad you've touched on that, Joe, mate, because I was talking about this half an hour previous to me and you having this conversation. Peter Buckley, massive shout out to Peter Buckley, a man I admire massively, and he's probably likely going to watch this when I share it. He fought Nazim Hamed. He had, I think, 300 plus fights. Another man, Willie Warburton, another man I admire massively. There's many more I could mention, mate, but there's a few at the top of my head. And I think Peter Buckley did 29 in 1 year. Now, if you work it out, I did 17 in less than 5 months.
Yeah, it's mental,
so
that.
Work that out, I could have matched it, and no sweat, I could have likely beat it. Now, for me to even talk in regards to matching Peter Buckley, a man of that caliber, a man I look up to, a man I admire, it's surreal to me, mate. It's surreal. I'm just being me. I'm just doing what I'm doing. I'm doing my job. I'm doing it to the best of my ability. I won't lie, I've still had my home comforts. Towards the end of the year, some of my bad habits picked up again. So I need to just, you know what I mean? If you're eating habits, it's hard. You're coming up and down in weight. You might be at light middleweight, then super middleweight, or even light heavyweight. It's been known. You're up and down in weight. It is hard to keep that weight off and to eat correctly. So I need to change those little few aspects. But yeah, there's a few things I need to change, a few little lifestyle choices and tweaks. But I don't drink, I don't do drugs, and I train all year round. And I do eat clean most of the time. It's when I'm coming up and down in weight. And like I say, a few little bad habits creep back in. But if I can alter them and live clean next year, you're going to see a different me.
Definitely, I agree. I think you're being a bit too harsh on yourself there in terms of bad habits, because you mentioned some of the places you've come back from, and your role as a journeyman, you don't necessarily focus on the victories as we've spoken about previously. So it's easily done where you have to fluctuate between weights, isn't it? Because you don't necessarily focus on the victory, but rather just getting in there, I suppose. Is that why the bad habits have creeped in, would you say?
That's absolutely spot on, Joe. Perfect analysis, that, mate. Spot on. 100%. Couldn't have said it any better, my friend. That's exactly what it is. Because obviously when you've slipped into journeyman mode, without any disrespect, I'm a journeyman myself, and it's okay to lose that sort of attitude or that mindset. You want to test them, you want to keep it honest, and you do go in to win. I'll clear this up. I'm never told to go in and lose. I'll just clear that up. And I'm wonders. I can go in there and do the job and win. A lot of the time, they're too good for you. That's just the bottom, and that's just it, mate. They are better than you, a lot of them, but they're beatable. Anybody can be caught with that shot. But next year, I do want to live like a prospect, and that's what I'm going to do. I did that for the first few months, and I kind of dwindled a little bit when I slipped into journeyman mode. But for me, there's 2 levels of fitness. I always say there's journeyman fitness, that's getting through the rounds. Then there's prospect fitness, and that's being able to go through the gears and match their work rate. And that's what you cannot cut corners. You have to live 110% clean to be able to do so.
A lot of it's a mentality thing, and I believe you're inspiring people around here from Padiham and things like that. Have you had any young lads come up to you or previously over the years and talk to you about getting into boxing, and have you given any advice to any young lads like my age? Obviously, I can't box for obvious reasons, but people like around the ages of 20, 22 who might be going off the wrong path and, look to you for advice and inspiration.
Yeah, do you know, I get that quite often, mate. And you might not be able to box physically, mate, but you can arm yourself mentally, and you've definitely got a good noggin on you, my friend.
Definitely.
So you just keep working on that. But I get it all the time, Joe. All the time. Young lads from the area, surrounding areas, in the Hamburn and Pendle areas. I get it all the time, mate. And it's a powerful thing, mate. When I receive those sort of messages, they keep you going. And you get, because you're just on your journey. You're a modest, humble guy. You're doing your thing. I'm not a world champion. I'm not going to be a world beater. So I'm just doing what I'm doing. but people are seeing that from the outside looking in for the position they're in life. And it's obviously inspiring them, or at least moving them in some way. And that's powerful, mate. It's powerful. And I get it all the time. And I'm always trying to advise people, and I always try and give people my time, because it's really hard, mate, when you've got 6 kids at home, you've got a missus, you know, you've got your career to look after, your own interests and your own sanity. It is hard, mate, to give 110% energy to people and to give my best. But I do the best I can, and I'm always there for people when I can be, mate. Like I said, I've done a lot of work in the community with the young people when I had the gym down by down just close to my house here. I can't remember the street now. It's next to the Northwest Muay Thai. We had a gym down there, and we worked with all the youth in the area. And honestly, mate, you can see the impact and the effect that you do have on them. And I can tell you now, combat sports is great for kids at a young age, especially away would have a lot of energy, because they can channel that energy into it. It does teach them discipline. It does teach them discipline. You can see the change in them. Just 2 or 3 months, you can see a change in behavioural patterns and everything, mate. And it's magic, pal. It is. It's very rewarding. Very rewarding.
And obviously, it's even more rewarding when you get the likes of Paul Smith complimenting you on your performance. I saw that a bit on Facebook. And Ben Davidson, you were sat next to him on the night. Can you talk to me about your emotions speaking to Paul Smith after the fight, former British middleweight champion, and Ben Davidson, Josh Taylor's trainer, Lee Wood's trainer, and obviously the former trainer of Tyson Fury? He's helped him through his mental battles as well. So to get compliments and, you know, advice off them guys you must have been buzzing.
Yeah, in one word, pal, surreal. Surreal. When you're a boxing fan with a license, which is it's Kane Baker who said that, by the way, and I always loved that. Big shout out to Kane Baker, top professional. Yeah, everyone knows who Kane Baker is. And he said it one time, and I thought that sums me up. That's what I am. I'm a boxing fan with a license. So to me, it's like I'm getting the best seat in the house. I'm backstage and I'm with all the top journeymen in the country: Jamie Quinn, Dale Harris-Smith, Scott Williams. Massive shout out to all them boys: Stephen Jackson, Levi Dunn, Luke Flash. Oh, there's many more. There's too many to mention. Honestly, the best people in the game. And you see all like Ricky Burns, seeing Ricky Burns backstage. It's surreal, mate. Paul Smith come backstage and he complimented me, and he had a little conversation with me. He told me how integral we are to boxing. And for me, mate, it meant the world to me. It meant the world to me, that, mate. And like I said, very surreal, pal. I even said to my missus, I don't think it's going to sink in. I mean, it's only just started to sink in now over the Christmas period when I've sat back and I've been able to digest it. I've been able to think about it, and I've weighed it up. I've had very little negative feedback or negative press. I've seen a few comments on a few of the outlets on the video that was shared. A few people making remarks about my record. Probably a guy who's never boxed before. I won't go out on a limb and say that, but usually are. If they boxed the people I'd boxed on my resume, mate, they'd be 0-17 as well. I'll say that. They wouldn't have even made it through my schedule. I've seen a few negative comments, people saying I've smoked 20 fags before my ring walk. Massively incorrect, not true. I didn't even smoke 20 fags that day. I'll just put that out there as well and make that clear. I wouldn't have disrespected myself or my opponent doing that. So yeah, but besides that, I've had glowing feedback. It was a mint occasion, and it's absolutely incredible, mate. I'm on the crest of the wave. But as I say, next year, Joe, people ain't seen nothing yet, mate. That's all I'm going to say. People ain't seen nothing yet. People need to remember, I got into this game at 27. I trained myself for the first 10, 11 months. I had no coach up until I was about 28 years old. People remember that. I'm only 33. I'm a baby in this game, never mind as a professional. And for me, being the most active journeyman, and possibly I could be up there as journeyman of the year. Do you know, I've done quite well for my first year. So people haven't seen anything yet. I'm only going to get better, wiser, stronger, more efficient, and more competent. And people are going to see the real Seamus next year.
I have no doubt about that. And, you know, you've got a strong support network around you to help facilitate that. I know a lot of your comments and a lot of your posts, your partner Danielle features in that on how she prepares your meals. I saw somebody post that on your timeline the other day. How key is she in your support network in helping you perform to the best of your abilities?
Drives me mad, mate. No, I'm only joking, pal. I love it a bit. Well, we do drive each other mad, but that's, mate, we're a team. We're a team. We've had a rocky time, mate. It's not been easy with me and Danielle. I've been with her nearly 6 years now. But we've been through thick and thin, mate. We're now at thin. You know what I'm saying? We're now at the good side, my friend. We've waded through our fair amount of shit, excuse my French. But we've got to where we've got to. And you know what? She's integral, mate. I couldn't do this without her. I couldn't do it without her. Same to my sponsors again. I need to shout out to my sponsors: David Ridge, Don't Cry with Nice Bites, Declan McKenna, Upright Scaffolding, Daniel Livesey, all you guys, Stephen Maisie, the Maisie concept. What a top man, top personal trainer in Scotland. I think he was a former kickboxer himself, a champion. Luke Vaughan, absolutely amazing. Luke Vaughan's a professional boxer himself. He also sponsors me. Now, Luke, he's not into it at the minute, but he keeps picking himself up, dusting himself off, and he's going again. And he's going to go for that win. And you know what? That man has my respect and my admiration. And another massive shout out to him, mate. But yeah, my missus, back to that, mate. Sorry, I went off on one there. But my missus is massively integral, mate. I've got such a good support network. Another guy I need to give a shout out to, one of my closest friends in life, mate. And I love him dearly. And we'll be friends until we die, till our last breath. That's Sean McFarlane, the Razor, former British bare knuckle champion, fought on BKBTM. This guy is, honestly, mate, he's something else, a special friend of mine. And last time I forgot to give him a mention. Everybody knows we're very close friends, but I thought I'd give him a special mention on this podcast because the guy's been with me from day one. Even when a lot of people turned their back on me, certain things I won't go into, he was there every step of the way, mate, and he's still there. And him and his family, I love to bits, mate. And they're very close, and I'll keep them close to me for the forthcoming years. But yes, thought I'd give a shout out to them. But my missus, mate, she's absolutely unbelievable. She's unbelievable, mate. Unbelievable. I mean, if I come back from training, I've had a hard session, she lets me sleep. I wake up, food's there, fruit smoothies there, refreshments there. Do you know what I'm saying, though, mate? It's just, I couldn't do that myself, mate. I struggle making myself a bowl of cereal, lad. I struggled. So, do you know what I mean? She's unbelievable, mate. But yeah, she's incredible, pal. I couldn't do it without her.
It's clear that support network will hopefully lead you into a big 2022. Bit of an off-the-cuff question to finish, though. You know, these YouTubers have come into the game of boxing recently. Jake Paul doing massive numbers. Bit of an off-the-cuff question. Do you follow that side of the game? Do you think it's good for boxing? And also, do you think you could beat the likes of Jake Paul if you ever hypothetically got in the ring with him? I know it's highly unlikely because you're a journeyman, but do you reckon you could beat someone of his standard? And do you think he's good or bad for boxing? There's a bit of a random question to finish.
I'm not. No, I don't. Do you know what, mate? It's good to throw a bit of a curveball in there, mate. It's good. I like that. But I'll not make comment on his character, on his boxing ability, because there's a lot going around at the minute. Everyone has their opinion on him. Whether he's good or bad for boxing, he's good for himself, and he's making himself a lot of money off the back of boxing. I don't see him doing any harm to it, but at the same time, I don't think he's great for boxing. I don't know, his personality gets up my nose a little bit, but do you know something, mate? He's looking after himself. He's got a great gig. He knows how to sell himself. He knows what he's doing. He's a social media sensation, and he knows what he's doing. He's got the numbers. But yeah, I've never met the man personally. If I got in the ring with him, of course, I believe I could beat him, mate. He's got a big overhand right, but I don't see anything that's majorly threatening. I think any decent, competent boxer, anyone on the British or English standard, beats him. I really do believe that. But yeah, that's all I'll say on that, mate. That's all I'll say.
Do you think Tommy Fury would spark him?
I think Tommy beats him. I think Tommy's from a long line of fighting men. I think he'd want it a bit too much. I think he'd be a bit twitchy and nervous for the first round. I think we wouldn't see a great Tommy for the first 3, 4, 5 minutes. And then I believe if he loosened up, established a rhythm, started to land, got a bit of confidence, I think the end would be nice for Jake Paul. I just believe that he'd be able to unravel him. I'm not sure what to make of the two fights with Woodley and Paul myself. I've watched him back, mate. I don't like to say he's fighting guys with boxing records that are naught and naught, guys that aren't even boxers, guys from a wrestling forte. It's a strange one. It's a bit of a circus, mate, innit, to be fair.
Yeah,
we'll close the chapter on that one soon, lad.
Yeah, like you said, though, it's good for boxing in terms of bringing like money and eyes to the sport. Is there any young prospects that you've been training with recently over this year that you expect a big 2022 from?
You know what? There's a few people that are on the circuit at the minute. There's a few people. I need to give a shout out to Jack Dwyer as well. Top little guy, journeyman on the road, but great little fighter. He's under Curtis's management at the minute. But in terms of prospects that I'm looking at and looking forward to watching develop, especially young prospects, Fraser Wilkinson, I fought him in Scotland, Jay Munn, Cardiff lad, Leon Willings, especially Leon Willings. He trains Terry Spencer, now keep your eye out for this kid. Just keep your eye out for this kid. There's something there. 19, 20, I think he's 19 or 20 years old. Only person to put me over as a professional. Just something about him, mate. He's just really classy, really sharp. He's not even got his man strength yet, which is a fucking scary. Yeah, there's quite a few, mate. I'd be here all day, but because I love the scene, mate. If I'm not boxing on a show, I'm attending. But there's quite a few, you know, mate. Looking at there's quite a few out there, but they're just a few that I'm excited about.
Nice one for coming on today, Seamus. It's excellent to see the passion in your voice once again. Whenever you speak about boxing and whenever we speak privately, you've always got massive time for me. And it's excellent practice for myself as well, because I sometimes get inside my own head, you know, thinking things should sound a certain way in terms of production and things like that. But you just got to keep pushing forward, ain't you? Both in the ring and outside of the ring, we all have. So cheers for this episode, pal.
Yeah. Well, sorry for interrupting you, mate. Whether figuratively or physically, literally, we're all fighting a battle, mate. But it's a pleasure to do this with you, mate. And I wouldn't do it if it wasn't. Your interview techniques are classy, mate. You're really good. Your format's good. You're spot on, mate. Honestly, you really are, mate. And like I said, I've got some great guests for you, future guests for you to work with. And I think you're really smashing. You're a smashing lad. You're a local lad doing a great job, mate. And I'll do it with you any single time, mate. It's a pleasure, pal.
Cheers, pal, and all the best for 2022, when I'm sure we've got many more interviews lined up. Thanks, everyone, for watching today, and thanks, Seamus, for coming on. Cheers, pal.
God bless, my brother. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, my friend.